Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and today we're going to go over some co-op impressions of Minecraft Dungeons, and I am joined today by Smith.
What's up, everybody?
And Smith and I have pretty much, if co-op is an option in a video game, we will play co-op in the video game. So that's how we played the entirety of Minecraft Dungeons that way. Let's go ahead and jump into, why don't you give it just a quick little brief, you wrote the review, a brief description of what Minecraft Dungeons actually is.
It's a bite-sized Diablo-style action RPG, isometric style, definitely simplified down to its base foundations. Not altogether a bad thing, but yeah, so it's just a simple dungeon crawler with a Minecraft aesthetic.
All right, so just so we're all clear, I'm going to start with this. I got it on Xbox, Smith had it on PC. We could not play together via cross-play, but then we just both played on PC, so it ended up working out. But just so you know, you cannot play from one console to another console, at least at the moment. They said that this will be addressed later, but when we were doing it for the review, we had to play on PC, which it's not a bad thing. You know, played flawlessly on PC, just so you guys are all clear. And you also cannot join up together until after the tutorial, which we did not realize until, I don't know, 3 or 4 times completing the tutorial, so just be ready for that. But right after that, we pretty much played co-op the entire time. So, what'd you like about the game, Smith? I know you're not a big fan of general Minecraft, so what do you like about this?
Yeah, no, I hate Minecraft with a passion. I can understand the game's qualities, but I'm not a fan in the slightest. I think with this one, obviously, the progression was really cool. The gear and the artifacts, which are basically the loot system of the game. The artifacts give you abilities when you discover them. The gear can do the same, but it also increases your attack and that kind of stuff. Yep. Early on, it's obviously it's a short game. Was it 5-6 hours?
Yeah, a lot of replayability, but yeah.
Yeah, that's how you complete the campaign once, and you can spike the difficulty up. But over that time, we were getting abilities on a regular basis. Yeah, it was a constant. I've just picked this up, check out what this does, and sort of sharing that with the other player and seeing what combos and builds they come up with. Yeah. That was probably the best part about it. There is a lot of versatility. It's a simple system, but there's enough depth there that you can dive in and have a good play around with it too. So that's probably my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, that it really does work out too, because there are. It's not really skill points. It's I can't remember what it's called at the minute, but there's points you get for leveling up, and you use those points on your weapons or your armor to then add skills to your weapon and armor, and then you can just hit X, salvage that, get all your points back, and do it to another set of armor. So it's really simple to not. It's not a class-based system. It's a armor, weapon, and skill-based system. So you can try out a lot of stuff without actually having to restart or anything like that. And if you don't like something, it's as simple as taking it off, dismantling it, and getting all your points back. There was definitely some crappy weapons. Gonna be straight up with you. Smith had a hammer at one point. I think it was his best weapon. He used it like 3 times. I don't remember, but he got rid of that real fast because it was a slow weapon. I think, yeah, by the end, both of us were sticking mainly to speed weapons, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ones I have with daggers that applied an AoE weakening effect to all the enemies around us, which is vital when you spike the difficulty up, because that shit gets insane. Yeah. And it sort of has a lightning proc. Every few strikes, lightning will come down and hit the enemies around me. So obviously the faster you attack, the better that was. I think there was a lot more viable builds. That was just the one that was easiest to slip into.
And outside of melee, you do have a crossbow or a bow that you can use, and of course armor. There's not really a ton of, like, you only have 3 slots for equipment and then 3 slots for artifacts, which are basically your skills. Those can all be switched as well. I want to say there's probably like 30 or 40, maybe even more of them. Some of them suck, some of them are great. You get this like firework arrow really early. It's really good for a while, and then it kind of falls off. But then we got this this mushroom that basically increases your melee attack and your melee speed. Combine that with our speed weapons, we did pretty freaking good with that. I didn't have daggers. I had a double blade up top, blade down bottom, like a glaive type of thing, and it went really fast. It was really cool. One problem I had with the gear system, I think you'll agree with this, is that you could not upgrade the actual stats of the weapon. So let's say you get a weapon and it does 35 damage, and you want to then, I don't know, fucking 10 levels later or whatever, you want to upgrade it to match your level. You can't do that. You have to get rid of it and find another one. I don't really like that system, because when you find a good weapon, you want to stick with it. I know they want you to test out other weapons, but it's when you've got the best weapon in your mind, right? You switch to something else, it's just not going to be as good.
It's almost like the old MMO days, where they release a new patch and the stuff you spent 6 months grinding end-game content for is replaced by the first grey item you get off the farmer for helping find his sheep.
Yeah, that's
it's because there's different rarities. So you can find the same sword 5 times and it will be a different rarity or different stats or different enchantments each time. So if you find one that's unique, it's got a special name, it looks really jazzy, it's got some great enchantments on it, that falls off after 5 or 10 levels, and you're sitting there thinking, well, I've got to swap it for something that's way crapper, but better because it's got higher damage numbers. So yeah, I agree with that. I like the flexibility of it, but it also sort of doesn't let you stick with what you know and what you like. You have to constantly change.
Yeah. Skill wise, I feel like since there wasn't as many of those, I could stick with my skills and I'd be okay for a little longer. But even then, like, those do have levels attached to them. And when you're there's a blacksmith in the game and there's a trader in the game, and you basically get this currency, emeralds, these green emeralds, and you can trade them to the blacksmith or the artifact trader, and it's like a loot box. Basically, you spend it, not real money, it's the currency in game, and you just get a random piece of loot. You can get a weapon or armor or a bow, and then of course any of the artifacts as well. Not a ton of luck for the most part when I was getting my blacksmith boxes, but I did end up getting a legendary eventually. Did you end up getting any legendaries, or were yours just crap?
No, the last one I did 15 and I got 9 bows.
Yeah, the game wanted Smith to be an archer and he refused to be an archer.
Constantly, here's some great ranger army, here's a great bow. I don't want to be an archer, man. It would have been nicer if the blacksmith was more specialized, so you could get a random one but within a certain category. So a random sword,
yes.
A random sword, because there was swords, two-handed swords, maul, glaive,
axe,
daggers, staff, axe. There's probably 7 to 10 different weapon types at least.
Yeah, a couple different kind of swords. Like, you ended up with a cutlass. I had just a normal long sword. There's like gloves for boxing type of stuff, and then of course all the different bows. It's got a good variety of them. Some of them you don't unlock until the higher difficulties, so it does kind of keep you incentivized to keep moving on beyond those difficulties. But before we get into that, let's wrap back around to like the blacksmith and stuff like that. Little lacking that whole little camp area, yeah.
Yeah, you get this whole camp area with your own little house. I assume it's your own house. It doesn't really tell you that, but no one lives there, and you get to pictures pop up in it when you complete stuff. But yeah, it just sort of felt unfinished, which the game did in a way anyway. But yeah, I would have liked more. You were rescuing villagers. I don't know why you couldn't bring them back, or just implement some level of the construction of Minecraft so you could make the camp a bit more homey.
Yeah, it's like you said.
Yeah,
good.
Just missed opportunity. I think
really
big time.
You name me a game real quick that suffers from base construction in a non-base constructing game. You won't find one. So like you said, you do get pictures inside the house after beating bosses, things like that. And there's a blacksmith and an artifact trader there, but that's it. There's like a drawbridge. I don't know what's on the other side of that drawbridge. I figured after we beat the game, we'd get something there. We didn't. There's even like in the loading screen, it kind of seems to show like that the house becomes a little bit more of a shop, but it never actually happens. So it's really weird. And I know it is Minecraft, so you do expect, I expected something there, because that's kind of like the foundation of Minecraft is building. And I know it's Minecraft Dungeons, I get that, but I still expected something with the base, or your house at the very least. But I mean,
I suppose it's possible that because we've done the first difficulty level and then sort of 90% of the second one out of 3. So it is possible stuff opens up a bit later, but the game gets really cutthroat really quickly on its ideas.
Yes, it does.
So I think if it does eventually open up a little bit, it's too late. It should have opened up a lot sooner.
Yeah, and before we got to the second playthrough, we breezed through the game. I mean, we might have died to we threw TNT at each other, things like that. But
creepers.
Oh yeah, creepers. Oh god, creeper. But creepers are nothing compared to the creepers on the veteran, the second difficulty, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We beat the last boss, walked into the next difficulty so high on ourselves. I think we made it about 20 seconds into the level. Got a Smith was like, "Oh, I'm down," and I was down, and that was it. We were out. Then we respawned. I respawned in a bunch of archers, immediately dead again. It was just oh my goodness. So yeah, don't think that the base game or the base level of difficulty is the entire game. It goes up real fast when you go to the next level, which I was appreciative of. Thought the base game was a little too easy, but it's Minecraft. It's kind of meant to appeal to a younger audience in some ways. Outside of that, it's secrets. That's what I want to talk about. Secrets. It's a really hit and miss. You actually talked about this in the review, so why don't you go ahead and lead us on this one. How'd you feel about those?
They just done them wrong, basically. So you start on a map and you can check the map and it tells you how many chests are on that map and how many secrets are on that map. It was never clear when you found a secret. Some of them were, you'd press a button, a hidden door would open.
Yes.
Other times we'd be halfway through a level and I'd check and it's like, we've got 3 secrets out of 6. Did you find any secrets? You're like, no, I didn't find any. No idea. And then the way the levels are spread out, so there was I think there was 10 levels in one dungeon that we found. I know there's more, but we didn't get any more. I can talk about that bit anyway.
Yeah.
But it just sort of, one level was like 7 secrets and 9 chests, and the next one was no secrets and 2 chests, which forced you to grind just a handful, 2 or 3 maybe of the levels, instead of the full spectrum of 10, you know, you just ended up grinding the same ones for the better gear.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know, I felt like there could have been a lot more involved in the secrets. It just sort of felt like it was slapped on. There wasn't really any depth to most of it. I think the first level, that's where you find the entrance to your first dungeon, and when you find that dungeon, it becomes a level in itself, a much bigger version of the dungeon.
Yep.
Which is great. That was good fun. It was just literally a big, massive dungeon, tons of creepers, all the cool stuff. And that was it. We never found another one.
No, we didn't. I think that first level was like the pinnacle of the game, quite frankly. It was the best level. From there, it was just kind of... Downhill's not really the right word, but it stagnated, certainly. Especially because, like, you go from... I think there's, like, 6 secrets in the first level. And then the next level, I swear, it's like 1 or 0. It's not a linear thing. I think there's 4 or 5 levels you can pick from. But a couple of them don't even have secrets. And it's just like, oh, okay, that's weird. So no chests? Because if there's no chests, then you have to expect loot from the enemies, which it is sort of a Diablo-ish game, it does not drop loot like Diablo. I'll tell you that straight up. It is rare to get an item off an enemy that is not a boss. Heck, we even killed a couple bosses and didn't get items off them, which you want to talk about not fun. Yeah, they definitely could have been balanced out. There should have been a minimum of like 2 secrets per level. Let's just be real with each other, at least.
Yeah, I think spreading them out would have been more rewarding and make every level valuable, whereas we would go in 2 or 3 levels, and the way some of the secrets were hidden, so some of them were obvious. It was like a chest that would pop up, but it would only pop up if you walked within an inch of it. So if you saw on the map and you could visibly see the end of this corridor and you think, I'm not going to waste my time checking another dead-end corridor, unless you walk right to the end, that chest won't spawn.
Yep.
Which left to a lot of frustrating and needless exploration, because although it's got some handcrafted bits, a large portion of it's procedurally generated as well. So yeah, I know that was probably one of the more frustrating aspects, having to check every single nook and cranny and still only getting a common item at the end.
Yeah, and worth noting, it tells you what loot you can find in each level if you've already found a piece of that loot. So if you want a specific weapon or a specific armor from a specific area, I hope it's one of the areas that has like 12 chests in it, or else you're going to be grinding that same level forever.
Could be long.
Yeah. But when there are secrets, when you do find those dungeons and you do get the sweet stuff out of the chest, it is cool. It feels good to get those things. It's not frequent enough. I mean, the game isn't that long, as we said earlier, and it is only $20. But I would have liked a little bit more, like you said, Smith. And another thing, when you play co-op and you fall off a cliff, it makes this ding noise. That ding noise is the same noise it makes when you find a secret. So if your partner falls off a cliff, or one of your partners falls off a cliff, and you hear that ding noise, you're like, oh, a secret. It's like, no, I just fell off a cliff. A lot of very similar sounds are used for various things that sound like secret sounds, and they're not secret sounds. And it's like, oh, well, that is annoying. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, while in co-op, if you guys are separated and your buddy finds a dead end, all you gotta do is hit one button and he can warp right to you. It takes like 5 seconds to load or something like that. Every game like that, please put that in.
I think that they've done a really brilliant job of being able to combine the simplicity of what Minecraft is to the genre. As a survival genre, Minecraft is a very simple game on its base level. It's got some complexities, but you mine blocks, you build a house, everyone's happy. This is very much the same to begin with, but you spike the difficulty up and suddenly it becomes a game that the grown-ups can really enjoy as well, really challenging.
Yep.
So I think they've done a really good job of combining them there. I would have rather have seen a full-fledged $60 version.
Yes, I would have as well, I believe. I unfortunately did not look up the price. I was under the impression that it was going to be a long game, but as soon as we got into the game, we realized it was not going to be long. You can see the whole map basically after the second level. Not very big. I think there's 10 levels total, something like that, maybe a couple more. I mean, hey, Minecraft Dungeons 2 definitely could be bigger.
I think this is going to get some love. I think we'll see, an update to the home camp system. I definitely think we'll see a couple new levels added, some new skins for characters and stuff like that. I think it will get a bit of love. I don't know how much. It's really cheap, right? $20 for 5 hours is not terrible. That's just the first bit. If you enjoy the game, you are going to get a lot of value for your $20. Mm-hmm. So those increased difficulty levels and more gear, really good. But I think I would have just wanted a bigger game for a bigger price tag. But as it is, for the price it is, it's a no-brainer if you're a Minecraft fan.
For sure. And it is going to be on Game Pass, obviously. Xbox Game Pass, which is however much a month. So 0 point in not trying it out if you have it there. Especially if you like it, co-op looters like Diablo-ish. I believe it's actually 4 players. So, hey, do it up. Get some missions. Get some loot and have fun. One last thing I want to talk about, just real quick, is the bosses. Kinda mixed bag on that end. Not some, because like what ends up happening is like you fight like the Invoker, for instance. He ends up being a boss at the end of the game, or not the end of the game, at the end of one of the levels, but you can run into him just running through the levels anyways. So it's not, some of them are just, they're weak. There was one that was like, oh, like at the end there, but most of them on the first difficulty are going to blow through. But just be ready towards the end that you might need to buckle up a little bit, because I think we almost got a game over, and that would have sucked, because I think it pushes you all the way back to the beginning of the level, or just straight up out.
Yeah. I mean, the death mechanic's very forgiving. That's something else I want to touch on real quick. So if you die, you will respawn very, very close to where you started, and all the enemies are at the same state. So if you've got a boss to half health and you die, as long as you've got team lives left, you can go back in and keep doing it. So again, very, very forgiving for the younger audiences. So a system I quite like, to be honest, because the bosses were a bit bland, so it's nice just to get them out of the way.
Yeah. And sometimes you step into the wrong room and you get plotted with like 30 arrows, and it's nice that when you die, if your partner's still alive, you can revive each other, but if you both die, you have like 3 lives and just both pop up. So it's real clean, real easy. And you can also throw dynamite, which I appreciate, because I'm all about the explosives there. You can stack 2 dynamites on top of each other, just so you all know. Pro tip. All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up, Smith?
And I think that's it. A decent game. Surprised me, definitely. I will probably definitely have a look back when it's got some updates for sure.
Yep, and there will be some updates, because on the map, it straight up has a thing that says, like, check back soon for this. So there's definitely going to be some DLC for that. But that will do it for us. If you liked what you saw, got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.